beatnik existentialism and cosmic horror? Because I don't see it.
Okay, so it's beats and cosmic horror or
Yeah, the beats have we have cosmic horror. The beats have their existentialism, and it seems to me Sartre and that nausea, the
right.
overwhelming, vertiginous, retching horror of the void. That sounds like it's all
Um,
the same stuff.
one word, Chelsea, mescaline.
I'd love some.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wish I had, you know, some peyote, but see, Sartre was on mescaline when he wrote Nausea or La Nausée, and
Explains a lot.
right, so you think that objects have a certain kind of coagulated, you know, Lovecraftian or Ramsey Campbellian kind of aura to them.
I love that Ramsey Campbellian. I
Yeah,
think Ramsey deserves as much to be the founder of a whole school and genre as Lovecraft was in his time. But that's me.
I'm going to show you a few books that will help to maybe give you a little more context for me. Okay, so, well, obviously, this isn't just books that I have around because of their magical aura.
Do you want to be doing this live or do you want to be just doing this private? I'm only asking because it's your preference, but I'm reminding you.
Well, I like the kind of, live cut up. I mean, we're already recording, so we're on a,
Oh, excellent. Because when you're on my show, this is the way I do my show. We
yeah,
just talk like
okay.
this.
Yeah, so this was one of the books that I've been in an anthology called Noir Erotica 3 by my friend Thomas
Noir erotica.
Thomas S. Roche. And it's got a blurb from Susie Bright, aka Susie Sexpert, on it, on the back.
Susie Bright and I were friends in the days of On Our Backs.
Of course you were. Right. So this was a anthology series that Thomas put together, and I also I've read with like um, Danielle Willis and Thomas at Cafe Barbar. So we go way, way, way back, and this people like let's see some people. Suki Delacroix is in here. Allison Tyler, Kate Bornstein, Michael Thomas Ford, who's in my Bauhaus book, and
Kate Bornstein.
yeah.
The let's talk about Kate for a minute.
Okay, let's.
The first of all started out at one point, according to her autobiography, a queer and pleasant danger as the pilot of L. Ron Hubbard's freaking ship.
I'm just showing you my first edition of Alone with the Horrors.
Splendid.
Yes.
Wrote Gender Outlaw, presumably after reading Judith Butler on acid.
As one does.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't be safe to read her any other way.
No.
So, from your point, what did you think of the first Gender Outlaw, the original one, if you read it?
The first you mean Gender Trouble?
Kate Bornstein's book, Gender
Ooh,
Outlaw.
I have not actually read that. I mean, I've read Gender Trouble many times.
Since that one,
Yeah.
since Gender Outlaw was just references
Yeah.
Butler, I might recommend that to you.
Okay. Okay.
Not because I'm trying to force other people to read trans theory, but because
Yeah.
there's more to it than that.
I mean, I approached Kate to be in. See, my pet projects that I've been trying to get off the ground for years was it's called Riot Pink Presents Embracing Justice. So it's like a trans resource book. And I approached Kate Bornstein and she said she didn't have time. And I said a reprint would be nice. She said she doesn't have time. And so I also approached who is that other that porn star person? Anyway, so I just you know what Caitlin Kiernan said to me, which is one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard from anybody in my entire fucking life. She said, build your name. Build your name. Don't try to get, because I was asking her if she would recommend me to Subterranean Press, and she said no. And she wrote me an entire like an email. She's very, very old-fashioned Southern, Southern manners, very, very polite. She wrote me an entire big, long email, very thoughtful email explaining why, that she wasn't going to recommend me. And anyway, and I've taken that advice and I've used it. It works, Chelsea. It really does. It's great. Build your name. So, rather than approaching people like Kate Bornstein and say, needing them, not needing people is powerful. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to shut up.
Oh, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Did you see uh of the production of Jesus Christ Superstar when it was done on TV? I don't know how many years ago. But it was worth seeing because the part of Jesus was played by John Legend, but the part of King Herod was Alice Cooper.
Oh, fuck yeah. And no, I haven't not seen that, but now I got to look that shit up, man.
Yeah, that so everybody should see
The
that.
Coop.
That was the performance of Cooper's career.
Nice.
He used everything he has ever used in his stage act and put it all into that one musical number.
Yeah.
And you could even tell where all the time he spent hanging out with those old vaudeville guys like Groucho Marx and George Burns was paying off.
Right. He and Groucho were neighbors, right? And the Coop would just go over to Groucho's place and they
For
would
a
just,
while, they had a weekly golf game, and
yeah,
what I would have given to have been their caddy.
I know, right? Yeah, man. That's so fucking cool. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of caddies, Caddyshack, Bill Murray and then Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson was a fan of one of my contributors, Ron Whitehead. Ron Whitehead he's an amazing guy. He's a legend. I'm going to show you the book we just put, one of the latest books that we put out. It's called Neurospicy, a defiantly different anthology. And it's got, okay, one of my best friends of all time is my dear friend Ellen Mabey is basically behind all of these books. Lyric Rivera, aka Neurodivergent Rebel, is in it. Caitlin R. Kiernan, Michael H. Hansen, Amelie Frank, who's another very, very close friend, and it's a publisher of Ellen Mabey as well. Um, uh, Tara Vanflower from the band Lycia, who also collaborated with, you know who Tara is, right? From with Pete Steele of Typo Negative. And then Jeff Thomas is in there. Jeff Thomas's 15-year-old daughter, Jade, is in here. Sandy DeLuca, who's like one of my closest friends and a collaborator. And she's a witch too, man. And Ron Whitehead, Lasara Firefox Allen, who wrote the forthcoming Genderqueer Menopause, which I blurbed, and Carmela Voyas, who does the Starblood series in Scotland, who calls herself my support animal, emotional support animal. So that's just some of the people we work with. Oh, and Carrie Lee Crum, who founded a little band called the Runaways. So yes, and that's original work by Carrie Lee Crum. So, you know, I mean, and it's really, really interesting and who was also a queer pioneer, right? I mean, Carrie was outspokenly, unabashedly queer before anybody was queer, and she was 14 fucking years old when she founded this band, right? She wanted to do like an all-girl Rolling Stones or an all-girl Ronettes or I mean like a rock and roll, you know, badass Ronettes, But she's also into
I'm just going to stop you for a second. Are
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
seriously suggesting that anybody was more badass than than the real Ronettes? I
No,
take
I'm
it
not
seriously.
suggesting that at all. I mean, and Carrie would be, with you, like saying, "Oh yeah, the original Ronettes were thoroughly fucking badass." But I'm just saying that Carrie Lee Crum, in terms of badassery,
He survived Phil Spector for
yeah,
how badass do you have to be?
yes, exactly, right, yeah, Phil
He
Spector.
became a rock star while married to her serial killer producer. I don't think
Had
it gets more badass than that.
her in the basement, right? He had her in the basement. He was threatening to murder her or something, Well, I don't know how she did that, but then everything seems to fall apart for these people eventually. Karma, just rebounds on their ass. Um, yeah, Ronette's amazing. You know who I also love? Tina fucking Turner, man. Can we talk about Tina Turner for a second? I mean, can we talk, right?
If you like.
Okay, we don't have to.
No, please. Tina Turner is awesome.
Tina Turner's awesome, right? So is Britney.
Oh,
Okay, Britney, Britney Spears. I got mad love for Britney Spears.
I didn't start to fully appreciate her and become a fan until she shaved her head and went mad. And then I was like, okay, now she's interesting.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Um, oh, uh, can I show you my Caitlin R. Kiernan portrait? It's just I did this today. I thought you'd get a kick out of it because um this is, it kind of maybe a little bit idealized, but it's got the basics. And
No, that's quite remarkable.
oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah. I've only met her in person once, and that was in 1995 and in Atlanta, where she was a little bit drunken and she read, and that was when, Billy read from Exquisite Corpse for the first time. So that was quite remarkable, constellation of talent there. Anyway, so yeah, I've also collaborated with Nancy Kilpatrick, and who's, rest in peace. She's gone now, but yeah. So so you were friends with Susie Bright. Let's talk about some Susie Bright, right? Let's talk about some Susie Sexpert's lesbian sex world.
I don't really, you probably have more intimate details than I do. I mean, my on our backs was far more important, I think, than anybody realized at the time because when Women Against Pornography was going full swing and Andrea Dworkin and all that was
Yeah.
when Susie Bright started appropriating sex positive lesbian erotica. She was trans inclusive at the age of the Michigan Women's Music Festival, pro, very pro uh, equal full rights for sex workers, a cause that I've supported all my life as
Yeah,
well.
me too.
Um, remarkable. Doing the things that she did in the 80s and 90s that seem normal to a millennial, and that was the intention. We fight for these things in order to make them appear normal to the next generation.
Yeah, yeah,
But what she did at the time she did it took a tremendous amount of courage and determination. That's what I have to say about Susie Bright.
yeah, yeah. I remember. I mean, I think she's fucking amazing, but I was at this reading at, I think it was, Cody's books, if I'm not mistaken, and she read some from this Paul Krasner's The Realist, this piece called Dan Quayle's Dick. And it was just one of the, have you read that? Dan,
That if if there's anything in this universe I don't want to
Quayle,
think about, it would be Dan Quayle's stick, all right?
rooted that into your consciousness, but yeah, so
Well, and actually, if you want to talk about Paul Krasner as the realist, that's fine with me.
right.
I never understood what he was trying to do. It was almost like he had these conspiracy theory
Yeah.
reveals of things like LBJ fucking Kennedy's corpse on Air Force One, which of course never happened, but he wrote this
Right.
deadpanned underground journalism that implied that it had, and
Yeah. I don't
not,
I
not, just,
I
and I
oh,
never really understood the purpose of all that or
pranks.
what exactly they were trying to do. I mean, I know it was supposed to be an absurdist
Yeah.
response of some kind, but
J.G. Ballard, right? J.G. Ballard. Yeah, I mean, like he was
is that how it's pronounced?
yeah,
I've
yeah.
only read him. I've never heard it pronounced. I was going Ballard because we have a Ballard lumber yard down the street from me. I don't know.
Yeah, so I believe he was trying to do the same thing with satire as well, I've heard Ballard as Ballard was trying to do with fiction, and you know what really fascinating thing. So Maxim Jakubowski wrote us an original piece where he talks about, which is also kind of a gonzo autofiction where he talks about how he smuggled the original Olympia Press edition of Naked Lunch out of Paris to give to Michael Moorcock, who gave it to J.G. Ballard. And that was an original piece that we published in just called Just One Fix, a literary salute to William S. Burroughs. So yeah, this is it's this whole series. I'll show you the cover. So it's got Poppy, it's got Caitlin, it's got Jeffrey Thomas, it's got John Shirley, original material by
What's the title of that again? It's not
oh,
really on camera so well.
oh, right. It's called Just One Fix, a literary salute to William S. Burroughs.
Awesome. That looks quite interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's got mostly original stuff.
You should really contact Shiva Stan with that one.
Okay, I will. Yeah, because I'm
No, that'll be the front window material, and they'll get a couple of people that knew Burroughs to sign it. I mean, serious, that's how he rolls.
yeah, okay, I will do that. Thank you for that. Yeah, so um yeah, so Maxim was kind of seeded this whole book series. And then last year, I got in touch with David J. Haskins and I asked him if he would like to contribute, and he sent me an original piece. So that's which is part of that anthology. And then I contacted Jarbo and for the Bauhaus book, because then I thought, okay, we were working with David J. Haskins. We might as well do a Bauhaus book, right? And then I approached Jarbo as one does, and she said, "Okay, but you got to talk to my friend Tara Vanflower, right?" So that led to a lovely friendship. And then I talked to my old friend Ethan Maroulis from Spawn Ranch and Black Tea for a Blue Girl. He gave us an original piece, which is a sequel to The Third Shadow, the Third Uncle, I'm sorry, The Third Uncle, Part 4, right? And then Daniela Santa Giuliana, we also work with, who's with, he has this band called Testing Vault, and he's worked with people like Max Brody from Ministry. And so, yeah, so I know it shit ton of people from from music journalism. And so the intersections between beat poetry, music journalism, and horror, this is where I live because I love all of that, all of that stuff, all of that. And I've also worked with Amelia G. and Forrest Black from Blue Blood magazine as well. So these are my peeps, right? These are my heart. I mean, you can't get much closer to my heart than anything to do with goth, dark wave, industrial music, magic, paganism, pansexual, eroticism, surrealism, decadence. You know, I'm too intense for most, and I just kind of live out there, mostly mostly following my own light because who else do you know who's passionate about these things? I mean, you are obviously passionate about these things. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about how you got started with doing the In Goth We Trust podcast.
Well, in Goth We Trust started simply enough. We're on WIOX community radio. We're 91.3 in the Catskills and stream at wioxradio.org. And they had somebody when I had a brick and mortar bookstore coming around trying to get us to underwrite as a sponsor or whatever the station. I was like, I I'll do that fine, but I want to pitch this idea I've been having for quite a while now of doing a goth show, and I would call it In Goth We Trust because what else would you call it? And,
Right?
the basic format would be to play goth music in all of its various forms. I mean, dark wave, dark industrial is certainly a part of that, but so are people like Lorna McKenna, if you define dark and goth and supernatural in another way related to the Gothic literature of the late 19th and late 18th, early 19th century.
Mhm.
The stuff, Poe era stuff from,
Yeah. And there's like Blackwoods magazine too, right? The German romantics.
oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I could care less, but I've read several, serious literary theorists that insist that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein belongs with the German Romantics. I'm like, it's okay with me.
Right?
In a way, I guess it is because the monsters in the book, as opposed to the Karloff movies, is every bit as whiny and self-destructive as young Werther and the rest of that lot.
Goethe, yeah, yeah. I love Goethe, yeah. Yeah, have you ever read Italianisch Reise, the Italian Journey? It's fantastic. Yeah. It's all about ruins. He sort of romanticized ruins and made ruins accessible for goth. We have him to thank. But yeah, I love Goethe so much. Yeah. I'm sorry. And yeah, please continue.
No, please, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about
No,
anymore.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no. So, okay, so you think I should talk to Mike Davis?
Most emphatically.
Okay, most emphatically, talk to Mike Davis. Yeah. Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows. Um, so I saw the thing you did with Gwendolyn
I mean,
Kiss.
like when you were talking about your, what do you call it, noir erotica, I was like,
Yeah.
That's something to take up with Pete Rawlik, you know?
Yeah.
That's where he lives.
Okay, yeah, because that's really more Thomas's thing, but he came up with the entire genre of erotic noir, and we had people like Lydia Lunch contributed to that. Lydia Lunch, Danielle Willis, Amelia G., John Shirley,
So
uh,
Lydia Lunch is still a going concern, first of all.
right?
Groovy, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've read some of her writings, but I mostly know her as the crazy rock act from the early punk days.
Yeah, Teenage Jesus and the Jerks. Yeah, so I've got a couple of friends in common. Oh yeah, my cousin is one of my cousins is Bibby Hansen. And so she's a friend of Lydia's as well as Tony Zanetta, um, who has played Andy Warhol in Andy Warhol's Pork, who's another guy. He's another guy. We're going to have him on the show. We already had him. I already did an interview with him for my David Bowie book. So he's a real sweetie pie, real nice guy. I love him so much. So I want to hook you up with these people too, and so you can have them on your podcast as well.
I would totally appreciate that.
Yeah, he's a sweetie pie. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So I am related to Bibi Hansen on my dad's side, and she confirmed that for me recently because we'd been talking, and she said, "Oh, you realize we're cousins, right?" And I was like, I'm related to Beck. I'm related to Beck. Okay, so okay, that's a kind of a mind fuck, but no, all right. I mean, it just fits in with the rest of my fabulously unrealistic, life history. So yeah, I was also born on Halloween, and in 1966. So that's when I was born, and one of my one of my one of my buds is Avorian von Spivey, Leslie Spivey from Penis Flytrap as well. So we had her on, and just a beautiful human being. I love them so much. You know why? Because it's all part of that transgressive vision of people like John Waters. John Waters was a huge fan of Ken Anger, who was, Elvorian's Leslie's best friend, right? And I've always appreciated like that John Waters' sensibility. He made the outlaws and the bad guys the good guys, right? He made the marginalized folks, the queer people, the shit eaters, the divines, right? Which is which divine got her name from Jean Genet, right? How many people know that, right? So there's all these little Easter eggs with these people, right? So I totally appreciate, Kenneth Anger was her best friend, Leslie's best friend. Can you imagine like Ken Anger is your roommate? And she knew Bobby Beausoleil as well. She and Bobby and Ken Anger were constantly like at each other's throats.
Remind me about Bobby Beausoleil. I seem to remember that his name is being associated somehow with the Manson murders.
You are correct. In fact, he was one of the Manson murderers. And he kind of got, he was doing okay. He did the soundtrack for Lucifer Rising, and then um, after Jimmy Page flaked out, and so Bobby Beausoleil filled in for Jimmy Page, and then I think Ken Anger laid a curse on Jimmy Page, and then because Ken was fond of laying curses on people. Another friend of mine in my improbable life is a woman um, named Sharon LeVay. Okay, very infamous person, right? Sharon LeVay, the
Wife of Anton LaVey?
the great granddaughter. I mean,
My
great.
granddaughter of Anton. Thank you. You throw
Oh,
these names so fast and you don't explain to your audience, you see.
I'm sorry. It's really I have a
Even
bunch.
the stuff I'm catching, I know that the average listener watching this needs a little more than we're giving them.
Okay, I got a brain injury. Anyway, so she's the granddaughter-in-law of Anton LaVey, right? And this was a book that was of sketches that were done was done by Anton LaVey. And it's called the Anton LaVey Illuminated the Satanic Sketchbook. And so Sharon was married to Stanton LaVey, who was the grandson of Anton LaVey, and they published this as part of the LaVey family archives. And it's really interesting too because he was such a good uh, artist. I mean, he's an amazing artist. These things are quite powerful and funny too. And so I did a couple of things where I just like took these sketches. Like, I mean, check this out, right? Check this out. Just amazing artwork. It's so beautiful. That's Anton LaVey. He had all these sides besides being the Pope of evil or whatever, the Pope of Satan, the satanic Pope, Um, and this, the sigil of whatever it's called, the Baphomet or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, she's actually
That
really
is Baphomet. It's modeled after the Baphomet of Eliphas Levi.
yeah, yeah, right. And I mean, I know, yeah, it's and she's a beautiful person. She's a beautiful person. She is how I met her, Sharon LaVey, is because one of our principal people as core part of Nocturnicorn Books is a woman named Nicole H. And Nicole, she's originally was one of the people who approached me about contributing to the Burroughs book. And then I found out we became friends and I found out more about her, including the fact that she's the daughter of Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. But she does all these things like she's made films with James Wan. She's she's an actress. She's a film director. She's an artist and just an all around badass. A really nice lady, and she's also into the cause of stray cats. And so she was the one who came up with A Collective Paw, the anthology. It's an animal rights anthology, which was an anthology series, which I would love to have something from you if you would care to contribute, because it's
Sure.
ongoing submissions. So that's what she wanted. But but seriously though, it's a really beautiful cause and a collective paw. It's sort of this philosophy of pawism where we're talking about like the intersectional, beautiful relationships between all beings, not just, you know, the the oversized orange-hued, you know, um fucking loser with the thing that looks like a hamster died and was stapled to his skull, just like that. You know, there's your hamster, sir. I'm sorry. I got a weird sense of humor, but I'm not apologizing for that. Hey, it's what made me where I am. I just found out that I'm being taught in schools like um SUNY. My work is being taught at SUNY, just SUNY, whatever, one of their campuses. I mean, that is just amazing, right? Like, that you're having an impact when people think that something called the Doom Hippies, which is the title of my dark satire collection, is worthy of actually, you know, like contaminating the minds of, you know, I think of them as fetuses because they're what, 20, 21 years old, right? they're barely wet. I mean, they're barely, amniotic, right? They've got this, shimmer of amniotic fluid, right, floating around their heads. And their first exposure to, college level work is going to be my shit. That is fucking scary, Chelsea. That's really scary. I'm also collected at the Widner Library at Harvard, which just, I mean, so the next Barack Obama is going to be sitting there reading stories like Vam Pussy, and they're going to be going, what is this? What are these shenanigans? Right? And so, yes, Jeff Thomas, his brother Craig Thomas, is the senior cataloger at the Widner Library at Harvard. And apparently Jeff vetted me, so that's why how I got into Harvard, even though I would never have been able to get into them on of my own, because I'm neurodivergent as fuck, and I have a learning disability. So I would never have qualified because I can't do math. So they'd be saying, "What is this guy? He wants to get into Harvard, but no, 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 no." So I got in and I snuck in the back door. That's what she wanted. You know, I mean, okay. So I'll shut up now. Hmm.
That's fine. I'm actually going to have to wrap this up.
Okay, cool.
But thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you, Chelsea.
It has been a real pleasure to learn all of these fascinating things about you and all the people that you know. And I would love to reciprocate and have you on my show in Goth We
Um,
Trust whenever you
oh,
like.
yeah. And I'm sorry if I babbled here because, you know, I just I get so excited to have somebody who actually understands what I'm talking about. Most people would be like, Caitlin who, or whatever. Yeah, but I'm like,
You must talk to Mike.
yeah,
Talk to Mike Davis. Talk to Mike.
okay, I will.
He just interviewed Jeff Thomas a couple of weeks or so ago. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like you're in the same planetary orbit here anyway. I mean,
yeah, definitely. That's very kind of you to suggest. So yeah, I will definitely, because and that's very aspirational for me. Lovecraft easing, very aspirational. So I'm super excited about
I'm
work.
writing for his blog. It's he's not that exclusive, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, you're just like you're pretty fucking badass, I think. And so I'm sorry, like if we can have you on or the next time, you know, um,
But I'll do this again with you anytime you like.
okay, yeah, and we can
Right now, my lighter died, and I'm trying to get to a store to replace it since it's
okay.
the only one I got before I have a nicotine fit, and that's why I'm rushing off.
I smoked for 30 years, my friend, so that is very legitimate. So I will let you go and acquire nicotine and
And seriously, let's do this again real soon. I mean that.
thank you so much, Chelsea.